Hi everyone. So it's me again. So I did my very first night cross country to Lancaster and back, and that's what you can only see in the back. It's the track log. There's no camera footage because one it's night and we saw what happened last time. Um, but there's gonna be several things that I'm gonna be talking about briefly. Um, But first, I'm sure many of you noticed that all the flight videos have disappeared. Is going to be a slight change to that. There won't be any more flight videos until I do get my PPNL. Only because I found out that while you're a student, it's not you that's on the hook for it. If anyone sees something in your videos and decides to report it, it's your instructor. So that being, I took them down for now. Um, so I'm just going to be doing like videos like this, vlogs and everything, and I'll still keep you updated. I know this isn't what most people were expecting or hoping for, but it is what it is. I wasn't aware that my actions have implications on other people. Uh, Based on what I saw from other channels, I assumed this wasn't the case, which apparently is not true. So, um, I'm trying to be considerate. Um, so that's that. The so Last Friday I was scheduled to do my written test. However, 2 days before, they called me up to the schedule to say that the test center was going under maintenance, which kind of peeved me off a little bit. I mean, I know it wasn't their fault, but you know, mentally I'm geared up, prepping myself. I'm a nervous wreck about it as it is, and I wanted to get it done before the end of April. And now this week is the finals, and it's more pressure on top of more pressure. And it's on Friday, which is May 7th, which is an ominous day because it's was my wedding anniversary. May 7th, 2007, 9:45 p.m. Yeah, a guy who remembers their wedding anniversary. um, and so it's I got my finals for the courses this week coming up. I have aircraft systems and CRM tomorrow. Aircraft systems, I'm not too sure. I think it comes available after midnight tonight. Science, I'm not expecting to do too well on that. The lab I did, but the lecture, to be honest, I didn't do all that well. So, um, the physics class, I'm expecting to have to do that again, only because I found that to be harder to grasp through a Zoom lecture, and it just it wasn't like everything that the instructor was saying, and it was just like yeah, and it didn't make sense. We're supposed to have two 2.5 hour sessions, um, and one day got cancelled. Instead of that, we only had one class for 2.5 sessions. So he tried to cram 14 weeks of classwork that was supposed to be separated into two separate lessons into one, and it just didn't work for me. Basically, I'm a visual learner. Like if you did demonstrations, if you did a lot better and stuff like that, then I probably would have understood. Like I could understand more from a 10-minute video watching someone explain it than I could him spending 2.5 hours just reading off the textbook or explaining stuff. It was um, it just wasn't helpful. But that's on me. That wasn't on anyone else's fault. But the other classes I did okay. The course resource management, I'm doing okay. I'm expecting a good result for the final exam tomorrow. Aircraft systems I should be good at, and the lab for physics I'm doing B plus. So depending how much depending how much the lecture takes me down, I'm expecting it to go down to an E or D, um, maybe even an F. Because the two combine to make your grade. Like, I didn't get any kind of alert system that I was like failing or anything because I had such a high grade on the lab. So from my understanding, I'm not failing, but it's going to be extremely low. So I don't know what to take of that because I didn't get anything. I didn't get any kind of alert system. So on to another subject. So the one of the few things that I learned with practicing for the night flight is, one, don't get complacent. It was explained to me that someone got used to the same taxiing instructions so much that it was done automatically. Um, so the student landed, got off the runway, and what happened was that they were told to switch to ground to 121.9, and the student didn't. They just got off, went down Alpha, crossed runway 31, and Juliet, and went straight to Hannah 7. So what had happened? That was a one-way incursion. So so I would recommend that like have the airport diagram in front of you, and have someone like your instructor or someone else just read off random taxi instructions. So you're not always expecting the same instructions all the time, because like admittedly every time I'm expecting 2-4, I'm always expecting Juliet Alpha, Alpha cross runway 31 at taxiway Alpha, and I'm preparing for that automatically. But the could give me Juliet Bravo 3 cross runway 31, Bravo, and then Alpha to Alpha 1, like all the way down to runway 24. Like there's tons of different stuff, and it was helpful when we were talking about chair flying. We was actually in the plane, just going through the motions and everything, and then I had mine sitting next to me reading with the taxi diagram in front of me, and he gave me instructions like he was the ground control, and basically like, where am I, where have I sent you, and stuff like that. And it was really helpful. But yeah, you don't want to get complacent. um, so the other thing is, of course, the night flight. Now I've done a couple of cross-country flights with my instructor. This was a dual night flight. The first time, or the first couple of times, it wasn't really ideal result because I was having trouble with the multitasking. There's a lot going on compared to just flying around the pattern. Um, Oddly enough, I found that, or I find that harder. I've been getting on the simulator and practicing more, doing stuff, making myself busy the entire time. Like, instead of a trial flight between Lancaster and back, and I just kept going back and forth. And then in between now, I would purposely switch VORs to make sure I was where I said I was. Um, instead of using the Lancaster while flying to Lancaster, I would use the East Texas, and instead of using the two flag to Lancaster, I was using East Texas from. So it made me think more, and it concentrated more on. It allowed me to keep my mind busy, keep me so I can learn to deal with distractions, and also keep my scan going so I can make sure my altitude's good, my speed's good, and that I'm within the track. Then the second time, I was off by 30 degrees. That I think it was mainly because of the navlog, because I misread the winds aloft, and I put the wrong winds off, and then we kind of got off a little bit. But overall, my navlog planning has been good. Um, we we went out to the plane and got the actual photo from the plane to get the weight balance, because for whatever reason, most of the planes have 3 sets of different numbers, because Ace Pilot, who owns the plane, have one set of numbers from 2018. The college has another set of numbers which are a little bit more accurate. The school's weight and balance sheets seem to be better. And then when I went periodically, I've been going to checking the planes, and the numbers are completely different, or some are not as bad as the others. Like the one that I was in for this flight, they were only off by 2. So I came back, put the updated numbers in, so I got an accurate weight and balance. And like with when you're doing aircraft and stuff, 2 pounds is you gotta be accurate to the closest pound as possible. So if you already got a weight and balance sheet that's outdated, you're already starting at a disadvantage, because when you're going out there, you're already starting with 2 pounds more than you had already, or 2 pounds less than you had already. The other mistake I caught I caught after I left the day flight, and then I got home and went through it. Like we with a Cherokee, we fly to the tabs, so there's 25 gallons in each tank to get to full tabs, to full tanks. But to the tabs it's only like 36. But we automatically take off 2 for taxiing, or 1.3 for taxiing and takeoff. But I realized that I forgot we didn't take off the 2 pounds for the unusable gallons. There's a 1 gallon in each ring for unusable gas. But I didn't put the 2 gallons back on the weight and balance, because even though they're not usable, so in the navlog you start off with 32 gallons, and at the end of whatever's remaining is what you're supposed to use. I forgot to add the weight of 2 gallons back on by increasing the remaining by 2. Because even though you can't use it, the weight's still there. The weight remains. So, it's been a process. I've been learning a lot, and thanks to a lot of patient guidance and understanding, and it produced a really good night flight. Now, for whatever reason, this isn't the first time it's happened to me. Where things that people tend to find hard, I find easy. Things that people tend to find easy, I find hard. Like the hardest thing about the entire flight training that I've had so far was learning learning when to flare. I was we were doing so much work on just learning to get down and land properly. Um, in the end, basically what we did, or what I did, is similar to choking the handle of a baseball bat, and instead of going to 4 flaps, I just stick to 2 flaps, just so it's easier and gives me less to do. But it's a handicap basically until I got better at it. Now recently I've been doing 4 flaps, and I do non-power landings and everything like that. But before, while I'm still getting I was still getting used to landing. That's what I was doing, and it worked. But things that people find easy or easier, I tend to find hard, or it takes me longer. But the night flight was absolutely fun. It was like, for whatever reason, the daytime is just distracting for me. As soon as we got up, we took off to we did. We took off to 4, and immediately what I was looking for was the beacon for Queen City, which has the similar beacon to us. And it's green and white, and it's to the southwest of Allentown. We're already taken off to 4, so I just needed to look at my 10 o'clock and I see it. So I turned the plane towards it, and I was like, right, so once I beam of that, I can turn right. I don't have to constantly scan the ground and search for it, because I can see the lights and it's right there. And I use the GPS and stay within tracking. Now, I wasn't perfect with the tracking. Like, I kept swerving in and out. Like, I kept missing in and out a lot. But I learned that once you get the plane trimmed out nicely, it takes off a lot of the workload that you needed to do. So it was more manageable to maintain the scan if I'm not constantly fighting the controls to maintain my attitude and have it set properly, and so forth. And it was just like, soon as I was being with the airport, I was like, right, so there's the airport. Fullerton is ahead of us. We'll be there in 5 minutes. Sure enough, 5 minutes we're over Fullerton. It's like, well, this is Fullerton. Those lights must be Reading, so that's Reading. Sure enough, a couple of minutes later, we saw the beacon for Reading. And then after that, we went to Lancaster and did a stop and go, and came back to Allentown and did the rest of the stop and goes to meet the requirement. So, oddly enough, I've been using Fire 4Flight, which some of you maybe know. I don't know how I did this, but I know I must have done. But it's like I use my logbook as well as my actual logbook to correct myself and make sure we're good. When I completed the flight, and it must have triggered something that I set up, because I have this report was sitting in my printer waiting for me automatically. Like, I got home, got in my room, and looked at the printer and saw that this was printed out, and it had the night flight already. It had the night flight information already printed up, which was like, okay. But I think what it is once half of the requirements were done, it printed it out so I could see what was remaining left. It never did that before. Like, I don't remember setting anything. It just, unless I pressed the button by mistake, but I was at the airport, so I don't know how or why it would print here when I'm like 40 minutes away. It's like one of the weirdest things that I've come across. But oddly enough, when I got home, it was sitting there in the printer tray, having been printed out, and it had the flight that I just did already on there. So I don't know how or why or what, but it came out with a report, and it That's everything I've done so far, and it says it's just for, and it says it's just the for general reference, and it is made assumptions based on my training from the log entries that I did. So I'm gonna take I'm gonna take that with a pinch of salt until I know that's okay. But I just thought that was rather interesting that it happened like that. That was something that I wasn't expecting. Like, I've seen the report. Like, I've gone into the logbook entries on the Fourth Flight webpage version, not on the iPad, and I've had a go around and I've seen the actual report. But I don't remember ever setting it up to, like, let me know when I'm over halfway, like, or that I'm close to the end. And it was, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's spooky that this was. It was like. It got my attention, as you can see. That somehow Fourth Flight told my printer to print something, and yeah, that was really interesting. So yeah, Friday coming. I have my written test. I'm still doing the Kings and flying my Alpha. I've been working non-stop, although admittedly I stopped over this past weekend to study the other stuff. And Saturday I flew, and then Sunday I took a day off to recuperate and do more for the CRM tomorrow. So yeah, the thing that I gotta do is prep work, and then I can do my solo cross country. Like I've got to be able to do everything together, like coordination, multitask, hold the heading, hold the track, do the pilot and dead reckoning, and maintain the attitude at or above below 100, and so forth. And it's hold your head in less than, without 10 deviation either way. And then after that it would be my second stage check. It's weird. I feel the potential excitement of it being almost there for me, but I'm not quite there yet. But the pressure of the written exam, I'm feeling it, because you can't do anything until that's done. So yeah, the pressure is on top of me. So, and so far I have to say I've been using this a lot more, and the more I've been using it for my nav logs for the lesson, the electronic E6B is by Sporties has by far proven to be very reliable. The one thing that it does that a regular calculator doesn't do, it allows you to calculate time in time instead of having to use, 360, minus 360 or whatever it is. That's incredibly useful to me. That I find, like, you can do 0 for the current hour, 2. So you go 2. So you can put 2 minutes like that, and then plus, and then we'll do then we do another column, and then we'll do 59, and then we'll do another plus, and then we'll do 0, 0, colon, and then we'll do 23 equals 56 minutes and 22 seconds. So it knows to calculate, to switch it over once you get to 60 and over, it switches it to another minute. And a regular calculator wouldn't do that. It would take it up to 10 or 100, or which is very useful. And there's a lot of other things that this has been good with. So yeah, I mean, I am confident with the exam, and I feel better for it, and I'm prepped for it, but my anxiety is through the roof. That was one of the reasons why I was so freaking pissed, and like my is like such an anticlimax. I was furious for like 2 days just to calming down. So I mean, it wasn't anyone's fault, don't get me wrong. It was just like my adrenaline was so pumped up, ready to go, get it over and done with, find out if I fail or not. And then they called up to say, oh, we have to reschedule because we have maintenance. And I'm like, well, why did you schedule me for that in the first place? And so, alright, I think that's going to be enough. I only meant to be a short video, and I think it's 26 minutes. That's my average. Alright, so yeah, unfortunately there won't be any flight videos for a while, at least until I get my PPNL. But, I'll still keep you guys updated weekly. Alright guys, I'll check you later. Adios amigos.